Hello guys, I hope you all are doing good. I am Vishali Kikan and we are discussing the VLSI technology, and in that we are discussing the epitaxy. Today in this video we are going to discuss about the epitaxial evaluations. This is the practical aspect of epitaxy and this video is going to be really interesting one. We are going to discuss about the various practical aspects of the epitaxial layer. We are going to see various things associated with the epitaxial layer. So in this video we are going to see various evaluations like the epitaxial layer thickness evaluation. How thick is our epitaxial layer? Then we are going to see what is the level of doping in the epitaxial layer, that is epitaxial layer doping evaluation. Then we are going to see the cosmetic inspection, how we can do the cosmetic inspection of the epitaxial layer. So first of all, epitaxial thickness. What is epitaxial thickness? The thickness of the epitaxial layer is the epitaxial thickness. How we can measure the epitaxial thickness? I have already told you about the one technique. I hope you remember that technique. When I was talking about the defects present in the epitaxial layer, I was talking about the stacking fault which can be used to measure the epitaxial layer thickness. Okay, so if I have the stacking fault, it can be used to measure the epitaxial layer thickness. But the drawback is, if I don't have any stacking fault, then we cannot measure the epitaxial layer thickness. So this is the reason we are going to see how we can measure the epitaxial layer thickness by other methods. So first of all, if I have any lightly doped silicon, it will be acting as a transparent in the near infrared region. But if I have heavily doped silicon which means it has greater than 1 into 10 raised to power 18 atoms per centimeter cube, and it will be acting as an absorber. So if I am increasing the doping, it will reduce the index of refraction below that of lightly doped silicon. So N is 3.42 for the lightly doped silicon. So in that case, interference fringes in the 5 to 50 micrometer wavelength range can be observed in the reflection spectra on a conventional infrared spectrophotometer. So with the help of spectrophotometer, we can find out what is the width of the interference fringes. Okay, and with the help of interference fringes, we can find out what is the level of doping. Okay, so if I talk about the epitaxial layer thickness, T is given as Pn minus 1 upon 2 plus Pi into Wn upon 2 into n square minus sine square theta. So this is a complex equation to find out the epitaxial thickness, and we have various terms involved here. So Wn is the position of the maxima or minima in the spectra in the micrometers. Okay, so whatever spectra we have formed in the previous slide, I have already told you that we are forming the interference fringes in the 5 to 50 micrometer range. So we are observing this spectra and we are finding out the position of maxima or minima in the spectra in micrometers. N is the refraction index, theta is the incident angle of the light, Pn is the order of maxima or minima, Pi is the correction factor that depends on the substrate used. So now coming to the Michelson interferometer. Okay, what is it? It is an instrument that samples all of the wavelengths simultaneously. Output is called an interferogram, and it is the Fourier transform of the reflectance spectra obtained on the spectrophotometer. Okay, whatever spectra we have formed on the spectrophotometer, we will be taking the Fourier transform of it, and the output is called the interferogram. The computer controls the interferometer and it will be collecting all of the data. So the thickness can be computed from the interferogram, or the computer can calculate the Fourier transform and it will be calculating the thickness with the Fourier transforms. So equipment for this method, the second method, that is we have calculated the Fourier transform. The equipment for this method is commercially available and we can use this to find out the thickness. So this is how we can find out the thickness. I have already told you with the help of stacking fault we can easily find out the thickness. The length of the side of the epitaxial stacking fault nucleated at the substrate, it is linearly related to the layer thickness. So the layer thickness is directly proportional to the width of the stacking fault. I hope you all have seen the previous video. So T is the layer thickness, L is the size of the fault, Ci is the orientation dependent constant, which is 0.707 for 100 type of orientation, and it is 0.816 for 111 orientation. So from here you can see C is a constant. So T is directly proportional to the length. If L is increasing, the thickness will be increasing. Okay, so if I see the length of the stacking fault, I can easily find out the thickness. So now coming to the epitaxial doping, how we can evaluate the doping. So three types of electrical measurement systems are there. The doping will be changing the resistance characteristics. So we can find out the sheet resistance. The value of the sheet resistance will be directly related to the doping level. If I have more doping, the resistance will be less. That I know. So this method is used to find out the sheet resistance, which is inversely related to the doping, and it's like in the passive way we are finding out the doping level. Okay, so then we can find out the diode capacitance voltage. The diode capacitance voltage is also related to the doping level, and also the spreading resistance is related to the doping level. So these are used to measure the doping levels. So if I have the controlled wafer technique, it is the simplest equipment. So first of all, I am going to talk about the controlled wafer technique. It involves the placing of the reactor in a lightly doped slice of conductivity type, which is opposite to the layer to be grown. Okay, so if I want an N type of layer to be grown, so I will be having the reactor which is doped with the P type of conductor. So now after the deposition, a 4-point probe measures the sheet resistance of the layer. In some later video, I will be discussing in detail about the 4-point probe method. So here we have 4 probes. 4 probes are put on the substrate, and these 4 probes are measuring the resistance from this substrate. So it is using a 4-point probe which measures the sheet resistance of the layer. Now we know the sheet resistance. Sheet resistance can be converted to the resistivity value. We can find out the resistivity from the resistance, and then we can find out the infrared thickness of the adjacent product slice. And this method may be highly inaccurate in some cases. Okay, so now we are using the CV measurement of a Schottky barrier diode, which is a rapid and a non-destructive way to determine the doping of the slice. So if the depletion layer can be spread on the substrate, some information on the auto doping tail can be obtained. So if I know the information about the auto doping, if you now don't know what is auto doping, you must go to the previous video where I discussed about the detailed analysis of the epitaxy. You should know what is auto-doping and what are the 2 types of auto-doping. So we can know the information on the auto-doping tail, and this measurement can also be performed on the MESA or planar junction diodes as a means of calibrating other measurements. So we have some drawbacks associated with the CV measurement of Schottky barrier diode also. So the first drawback is it is highly sensitive to small errors in the area and the capacitance. So we are measuring the capacitance. If capacitance is fluctuating, the CV measurement will be fluctuating, and in turn whatever doping level it is giving, that will also be fluctuating. So now coming to the third method. The third method is using the spreading resistance measurement. So I have already told you we have to measure the spreading resistance. We have already measured the sheet resistance with the 4-point probe method. So previously mentioned as a profiling technique. So this technique was called the profiling technique previously. It determines the wafer's resistivity by measuring it on the surface. So we measure the resistance on the surface, that is the surface resistance, then we determine the wafer resistivity from the resistance. So now we have some difficulties in this method as well. So first difficulty is that maintaining accurate calibration as the probe wear with the repeated uses. So whenever I am using probe again and again, it start wearing, it start fading away. Okay, so we have to maintain the accurate calibration even after the probes are wear out. Okay, so now overcoming the influence of the surface effect that affect the measurement of the resistance. Okay, we have some surface effects present which will be changing the surface resistance, and we have to remove or overcome the influence of these effects as well. Now coming to the cosmetic inspection and the perfection evaluation. Okay, so the wafer is usually examined with the naked eyes. We can see the wafer, we can watch it, and we can examine if some impurity or some imperfection is present over its surface or not. So how we see it with the naked eyes? Under the high intensity illumination to judge the quality of the deposit. Okay, so we are judging the epitaxial layer with the naked eye, unaided eye, under the high intensity illumination. Wafer may be rejected for any departure from a specular smooth surface, including projections which are seen as bright spots of light. Even some bright spot of lights will make our wafer to be rejected. Some strains are present, we will directly reject it. Some hazes or scratches are present, we will be rejecting it. So this is the first technique that we do with the help of naked eyes. The acceptance criteria is usually set empirically based on the type of device being fabricated. If I have high-end application, that time I want best devices. I will not want even a slight scratch on the surface. So I will be rejecting the wafer with the slightest scratches as well. If my application is not the high-end application, then I may accept the scratches, slightly scratches present on the surface, I can accept. So this is the cosmetic inspection. Now some additional inspection can also be performed. So we can use the magnification of 50 to 200. Okay, so we can do the magnification and we can find out how many micro defects are present. So we can evaluate the micro defect densities such as stacking faults as well as tri-pyramids. So Nomansky phase contrast microscopy is preferred for this inspection. We need a microscope, so Nomansky phase contrast microscope is used. Another useful technique is to etch wafers in solutions such as Sakos or Siltels etch to determine the dislocation and also to determine the saucer pit densities. Okay, so these are the references. If you want further knowledge about this topic, you can reach out to these books. These books are really amazing and you will find a lot of further details about this topic. So I hope you like this session. If you like it, please push the like button, subscribe to the channel and also share it with your friends. Thank you so much.